Hey, good morning here. We're going to take a look at another video here dealing with adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. Going to focus on the subtraction part right here. So in this case, we actually have a mixed number, 1 2/5, and we're going to take away 3/4. A lot of people like to change that 1 2/5 and change the form to a common fraction or to an improper fraction. Now I can think we're in fifths here, so 5/5 is 1 plus 2/5 is 7/5. Some people use that little cheat step. They take 1 times 5 to get 5, and really that's 5/5. Plus 2 more gives me 7 of those fifths. And then we can take away 3/4. Now I've got them both in a fractional form, and now I can subtract these two, and again you'd find that common denominator. This time we have a 4 and a 5, and again if we use multiples, a lot of you just know your facts, or sometimes you can just multiply the bottom two numbers. The least common denominator here is 20. So I take this times 4/4, and that changes to 28/20. And again, that's an equivalent fraction. If I do whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. You've got that identity property. You're just taking it times 1. So it stays equal in value. And this one I will take times 5/5 to get this to 20 in the denominator. And I get 15/20. So in this case, when I subtract them, now that I've got the same size piece, I have 28 of those 20ths. I'm going to take away 15 of those 20ths, and I'm left with 13/20. Again, if I add that 1 2/5 and I'm taking away 3/4, I should end up under 1, so that makes sense for my answer. Okay. Some people like to also, another option is to line up your fractions with your fraction and your whole numbers. Just like with decimals, you can line up your decimal. This also works. Sometimes you run into some different situations here. But like with any unlike denominators, you want to get a common denominator. So we're going to change it to 20ths. And I'll take this times 4/4 to change it to 8/20. And to get the 4 to a 20, we know we take that times 5. So take the top times 5. And we end up with 15/20. Okay, so here's where it gets a little tougher if you do it this way. If I have 8/20 and I'm trying to take away 15/20, I should be thinking that would be negative. Because if I only have 8, I can't take away 15. I don't have 15 to take away. So I would have to decompose a unit of higher value. We used to call it borrowing. But if I take one away from here and I add it back over here, I haven't changed any value. But I don't want to call it 1. Okay, in this case, I want a common denominator. So could I just call it, since we already have 20 as a denominator, I can call it 20/20, which I took away 1 here and I put it back here. So the value stays the same. So when I combine that, we now have 28/20, and I'm going to take away, so I'm going to rewrite this. We know we have 15/20 over here, so I can just subtract these. 28/20, take away 15/20, gives me 13 of those 20ths. And again, I got the same answer as when I changed it to an improper fraction and did it. Either way works here. Okay, a lot of different ways to solve these problems. So again, you have some practice problems on adding and subtracting fractions today and making sure we have this down.